Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm meadsyreplays69. Welcome back to the channel. Now in today's video we have a top five tech tree tanks to play if you want to win games. Now don't take my word for this, and what I don't want you to do is go and play these tanks and complain to me if you do not win, because I am going by statistics that is on blitzstars. So over the last sort of 90 days, which is what blitzstars takes, these are the tanks to play if you want to win. And I say that is because at the moment these 5 tech tree tanks are the highest win rate tanks currently being played in the game. So first up we have the FV215B. Now with this I am very shocked, because yes, it used to be, it's a roller coaster of a ride. It's a roller coaster of a tank. It used to be absolutely brilliant. Then it sort of went down and it wasn't that interesting. It was a boring tank to play, not that great. Then Wargaming buffed it again. And now, as you can see by the stats of it, people are winning in the tank and they are playing much better. So over the last 90 days, this tank is 5th on the list of winning, and that is at 55.59% win rate. So yeah, it's quite high, and I'm glad that this tank has finally come back into the game and people are enjoying it and are winning again in this tank. So let's move on to number 4. So the next tank on the list, number 4 on the list, is the T100. Yes, the T100 Lite. This has actually been on the list since it's come into the game. It is a fantastic light tank, and again, people have been continuing to win in this tank and having fun. So currently this is at 55.87% win rate over the last 90 days. So people are winning in it. People are performing really well in the tank, and there's no surprise, to be honest. It is a fantastic tank. I absolutely love this tank. It's got the DPM of a medium tank, it's got the speed of a light tank, and it is very low to the ground as well. The speed's very good, and overall it is a brilliant tank. Yes, it has it's got nerfed recently, but in my opinion it's not a massive nerf, and it's a little nerf that was actually needed in this tank. It did need a nerf because it was just too strong for what it is. But people are winning in the tank. People are winning, and they are still performing well. 55.87% win rate over the last 90 days, which is pretty good. Now, I actually thought this would be higher on the list, but no, it's number 4 on the list. Out of all the tanks in the game, this is number 4, and it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that this is up there in the top 5 at all. I just thought maybe it would be further down, like number 2 or maybe 3 or maybe even number 1, but nope, it's number 4, and people are winning in this tank, and I do think that they're going to continue to win in this tank because it is a beauty of a tank and a fantastic light tank. Moving on to number 3 on the list. So number 3 on the list is the TVP. Yes, the TVP has been given some love. It also has been given a nerf as well. I just think the love that Wargaming have given this with the intricate reload is absolutely brilliant. Now, if you play this tank in a platoon, you've got to remember this has 4 shells. If you play in a platoon and you focus fire, you will be able to clear a tank straight away. Now, unfortunately for this guy's teammate, he did get ripped apart, and the Jagdtiger has managed to stay alive, not for much longer, but he stayed alive even though there's so many tanks around this side of the map. So the TVP, after the buff, people are still loving this tank. People have loved this tank ever since it's released, but now that it has been given some more love and the intricate reload has been lowered, people are performing really well in the tank. Now this has a 56% win rate over the last 90 days, and again, I think until Wargaming do nerf it, I don't think they're going to nerf it. I do think it's absolutely fine how it is. It did need the intricate reload, but you got to remember it got a nerf and it got a buff. So yes, it got an intricate reload, but it also got a magazine a magazine nerf as well, so they added a second or so onto the magazine. So I think it was perfectly fine. The change was perfectly fine, but people are loving this tank, and it has been a tank. It's been a fan favorite since it's released. Now I can't really perform too well in the TVP, and that's not the tank's fault, that's my fault. I just really don't perform well, and some people don't perform well. They kind of the reload, the magazine reload does get to them. You've just got to remember to go hide, and hopefully not get shot while you're on that 22 to 23 second reload, because if you get rushed by another medium tank or anything like that with DPM, you will get absolutely annihilated. So make sure you've got cover. If you are playing the tank, make sure you've got cover whilst you are on the on that big reload. And if you do play it in a platoon, honestly, play it in a platoon properly. Play it in stick together. You know, you've got to stick together, because you've got 4 shells. You've got four shells each, and that means you've got 8 shells coming at the enemy team, and you could literally destroy them. This Emil 2 there, if you would have penned all 4 shots and your platoon mate all 4 shots, he's dead. You can clear a tank in as little as no time at all. But people are performing well in a tank. 56% win rate over the last 90 days makes this the 3rd best tank for win rate currently in the game. So what is number 2? And here we have it, number 2 on the list. It is the STB. Now, I was actually surprised about this. Like, again, the STB has always been a good tank. It's always been a good tank, but people have never really performed too well in the STB. But currently, this is the 2nd highest tank for win rate in the game at 56.02%. So it's only a little bit above the TVP, and it's still 5% higher than the T100. So people are still playing the tank, and people are still performing really, really well in the tank. It is a fantastic tank when played correctly. You do have to remember that this tank doesn't have the kind of DPM that the other Russian medium tanks has got, but it has the turret. The turret is absolutely fantastic, and overall it looks fantastic as well. The tank looks absolutely brilliant. I love the camouflage. I've always loved the STB. Now, people that have been around on the channel for a while will always remember that I've had a love-hate relationship with the STB. I've always loved it, but my biggest problem with the STB is I was once one of them guys that wanted, my aim was to ace every single tank in the game, and I almost got there. And eventually I did get there. I aced every single tank that I played. Currently I'm sort of backed up with that. I can't really be bothered dealing with that at the minute, so I did at one point have 100% aces on my account, but the STB, it took me nearly 500 battles to ace this tank. It took a while, but I'm glad that people are still playing it, and I'm also glad that people are still winning. So what is the number 1 tank out there in the game, a tech tree tank that people are winning in? Let's find out. Now, this tank I really am not surprised about. I knew this would be up there. It's always going to be up there because it is one of the strongest tanks in the game. Now, I am going to do a video in the next week or so. I'm going to actually do a series where I talk about the strongest tanks in the game, and of course this will feature. Honestly, I do think this is one of the strongest tier 10s in the game currently since its release, and it is absolutely fantastic. And I'm glad that the win rate actually shows that this tank is super strong and people are winning it. Now, all the other tanks in this list, you've also got to remember the amount of people that play the tank. So you've got some tanks in this list that I've shown, like the FE215B. I think there was only in the last 90 days like 3,000 people playing it, but this tank, obviously if you've got more people playing it, the win rate usually drops down because the more people are playing it. Now, this tank in that list that I've just shown you is also the most played tank. In the last 90 days, 15,000 people have been playing this tank, and so for that to be the most played tank out of this list and also the highest win rate tank, it means something. You know, 57.40% win rate. So that is well over 1% more than the second best, which is absolutely insane. And I honestly think that this is going to continue to be the best win rate tank in the game for a very long time, at least until Wargaming do nerf it, if they do nerf it. But currently the number one tank to win in Blitz is the Type 71. Now, don't forget, guys, I've got all of this information off blitzstars. I'm not talking about personal experience. I'm talking about blitzstars. So all of these 5 tanks in the list, according to blitzstars, are the best tanks to play for winning games currently. So I'll be back tomorrow, because this episode is showcasing the top 5 tech tree tanks to winning. What are the top 5 premium tanks to winning? We'll be showing you that information tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsy69, and I will catch you all soon. Bye bye.